Hi everyone. Thank you for joining here and on YouTube. This is a teaser for the workshop scheduled for about a month from now on beginner to advanced. I call it from a low world to real world. And in this um, preview, I'm going to cover what will be in the workshop. And I'm ready, of course, for questions that you can post in the Q&A. Everybody that is here can raise questions, and we can discuss topics that you may want to add, or if you want to check if they will be covered. So the workshop is called From a Low World to Real World, hands-on C++ journey from beginner to advanced. And the idea is, as it says, to do a lot of hands-on work, practical experience, and to cover from the basics, the fundamentals to more advanced stuff. And this is what we are going to cover, the topics and the main ideas that are going to be covered in the workshop. So C++, I think that everybody here knows the reason that we are here, is a powerful language, much in use in many industries, from autonomous vehicles, game engines, trading infrastructures and algorithms, defense systems, and many others. But writing solid C++ for production is not easy. It's not the same as the C++ that we learn in universities and at colleges. I mean, even if you have the basics, the best practices, the actual performance advices, how to use the libraries, etc., all these things is experience that is gained while working with C++. And the idea is to close this gap, to go from knowing what is C++. Some of the participants would have some C++ experience. Some may come with much less. We'll start with a very basic, but quickly we will do the alignment and then go for the more advanced stuff. So what are we going to cover? Alignment. And I find this part very important in many training sessions that I give, because in many cases, going back to the basics, going back to alignment, things that we may know, we may forgot, maybe we do not use correctly, maybe we just miss something that, oh, this is how to use it, this is the way to use it correctly, or oh, I didn't know this part. I knew that I can use this keyword, but not for this use, etc. So starting with the foundations is important, both for alignment for all the audience and also for closing gaps for the participants. Then we will continue to modern C++ syntax, which I guess some of you already heard and know, move semantics, additions that came since C++ 11 and on, and we'll cover all the relevant standards from C++ 11 through 14, 17, 20, and may even touch some issues, some features that came with C++ 23. In many industries, in many companies, in many projects, C++ 23 is not still in use. So we will focus on the main features that are being used in the industry, but get you to be able to use the new features when you will move to the new standards. So even if you touch something for C++ 20, we usually will say what is the alternative if you're using 14 or 11, or even if you are in legacy C++ 98, which is still in some cases the standard being used. We will continue with best practices, how to write safe code, stable, that avoid pitfalls. And we'll discuss best practices in C++ that is built upon the features, upon using them correctly. We'll say the acronym RAII and many other concepts in C++ that create the best practices for writing good C++ code. We'll go through design considerations, how to build scalable and very importantly, maintainable code. Testing is very important. So we'll touch testing with gtest as our platform, but opening the idea of how to write tests for C++, which is, again, very important. And we'll touch, of course, AI-assisted development, which is today something that you cannot avoid. You have to understand when, how to use AI and leverage it to write your code or assist you with writing your code. So these are the main points, the main ideas that we'll cover. And we'll do all with hands-on practice. So anything that we'll touch will have either exercises, short exercises, in some cases a bit longer ones that you will write, and in some cases exercises that we'll discuss and then write together. In some cases, we'll just review code, but again, it is important not just to go through slides, and today it will be only slides, but in the workshop, it will be a lot of code. The entire agenda is in the CPP online site. I will go through that briefly. So I'm going to press this one. I think that you will see now my screen pointing to the agenda, to the outline. And it starts with the goals that I mentioned before. And then it goes through introduction and setup, understanding the environment, speaking a bit about compilation. I mean, probably you know the compilation process, but it is important to understand how compilation linking works because it affects things that we need to master. If you get compilation or linker error, what are the reasons, how we take the compilation or understand what the issue is and solve it. We'll go through alignment of the fundamentals from classes and objects and OOP design. And again, we'll start with a very basic, but quickly move to the more advanced stuff. And when I say quickly, it depends, of course, on the audience pace. We'll try to answer all questions of the audience, but doing that while we move on. In some cases, if there will be a gap that cannot be filled in, cannot be tackled within the workshop, we may take it offline with those. We need some additional extra strengthening on a certain specific item and take that as an extra additional exercise that we may do at the end of the day. Through alignment, we'll go through functions, overloading, scope, lifetime, resource management. I mentioned RAII, which stands for Resource Acquisition is Initialization. We'll understand what does it say and why it is so important in C++. Of course, inheritance and polymorphism, and we'll discuss when and when not to use inheritance. We'll go through templates, Lambda, the standard library, the containers library and functions. We'll discuss templates with variadic templates, non-type template parameters, CTAD, class template argument deduction, concepts, which is a C++20 feature. And there is a talk that I give on Friday in C++ online conference on concepts. We'll discuss that also in the workshop. We'll discuss the standard library containers, algorithms, and of course, how to use iterators. Modern C++, we'll do move semantics, smart pointers, which are a great usable tool, highly acceptable by the C++ community. And you should use smart pointers if you're using C++ 11 or later version. And we'll tie it all together again with some practice. Real-world C++ best practices through API design, how to build modular projects, some key design patterns, common pitfalls, and other tips of how to write scalable and maintainable code. We'll wrap up, of course, with a summary that will take all the things that we did, that we will do during the day, and prepare some next steps for the audience, things that you may want to further explore, links to additional um, talks and lectures on the web that you may want to go for after. And of course, we'll have Q&A during the day and at the end of the day. I gave similar workshops in the past, and in many cases, people stay after we finish for covering some things that were, in some cases, missing, or they wanted to have some additional practice on a certain topic. So at the end of the day, if there will be a requirement, a need, we'll have some more time on additional stuff. So this is the high-level agenda. I mean, quite detailed, but it is open for things that will come up during the day. I'll go back to the slides. So we spoke about the agenda, and let's ask who should participate. Are you the right audience for this one? So I will start with students and recent graduates. Anybody who have some C or C++ background. I mean, we will not teach the basic of C. We assume that participants have some either C++ basic knowledge or C knowledge with idea of what is object-oriented programming, and we'll go quite quickly into how C++ is using the OOP paradigm and going through the more advanced stuff. But anyone who just recently graduated or is still a student and wants to bridge the gap between what usually we learn in academic studies to what we actually use in the industry, this one is for you. Junior C++ developers, I would say 2, 3, even 4 years experience may get value with this workshop. But if you are in C++ and you feel that, oh, it is a big language, I mean, it's a lot of features, vast usages, etc., will not be able to touch it all, but we will surely be able to cover maybe stuff that you were looking for, answering questions, and filling the gap. Self-taught programmers. In many cases, we have people who taught themselves C++, and this is an opportunity to go through the more methodological way of how to cover C++, and make sure that they didn't miss any important stuff. So this is another relevant audience. Technical leads. So if you are a technical lead and you are asking yourself, how can I bring the main ideas to my team members? What are the main focus points when I do code review, when I try to push for best practices and better code in my team? Then this one may help in that as well. And software engineers transitioning to C++ from other languages, like from C or from Java, are also relevant audience for this workshop. Again, I'm open for questions that you may raise in the Q&A. So if you have any questions that you want to raise, to discuss topics that are covered or that you want to be covered. In some cases, things may be added. Just let me know either in the Q&A, or you can send me an email or go through the C++ online administration, and the email will find me as well. Work-life balance. So education, I would treat it as the life side of the work-life balance. So this one is from Kevlin Annie, who we just heard keynote, his talk. I like very much Kevlin's, and he talks. I'm going to many conferences, and I hear Kevlin, and I hear him also on YouTube. This came from his book on 97 things programmers should know. And he says you need to spend evenings, weekends, and holidays educating yourself. Therefore, you cannot spend your evenings, weekends, and holidays working overtime on your current project. And usually the idea is that if we do not, if we stay behind, if we do not educate ourselves in things that we should know, then we will create overtime. We will do things not as they should be. And the idea is that taking the time for learning things, and I would say learning things either by going to a conference or watching talks on YouTube or discussing things with AI and making sure that we got correct answers and not hallucinations, and checking that, going to a compiler and typing things. So these are things that we need to do, and the workshop is a way to structure that, to come to a day and make it as a frame for learning new things or making sure that we know what we need to know. A few words about myself. I'm a lecturer at the Academic College of Tel Aviv-Yafo and Tel Aviv University. Previously, many years I was in the industry, started as a programmer, then being a team leader, R&D manager, and also in a role of chief programmer, which was a role in a quite big company, being in charge of the code quality standards, enforcement of quality standards and other issues that should be enforced on the entire development R&D organization. And I take, in a way, by the way, in most of these roles, I was working on C++. So it was C++ and other languages as well, but almost in all the roles, it was also C++. In some cases, it was mainly C++. I'm also the core, and I'm taking from this experience the ideas and the best practices that I'm going to go over with you. Also, I'm the co-organizer of the Core CPP conference and meetup group, taking part in Tel Aviv. And I'm a trainer and advisor for C++, but not only. So this is it. This is what I wanted to cover in this preview. This is my email. If you want to ask questions, if you are not sure whether this workshop is relevant for you, for some reason you want to ask questions, send me an email. You want to add something, you want to make sure that something is in the workshop, send me an email. And I'm ready now to take questions in the Q&A if you have any. And if not, then I will leave the stage for the next workshop preview. So let's see if we have any questions in the Q&A.